Okay.
Say hello, audience member.
Hello, audience member.
Imagine killing an animal 10 times your size using nothing but your teeth. This is what a wolf must do every time it goes out to hunt. That is where the strength and experience of the pack is vital to the success of the wolf. Prior to 1995, there was not believed to be one gray wolf in Idaho. That year, 7 wolves were relocated from Canada and released into the Idaho wilderness. There are believed to be between 500 and 800 gray wolves in Idaho today. If you're listening to this speech, you likely live in Idaho. Were you aware of all these wolf packs seen in purple? I wasn't. Since I was young, I've been a nature enthusiast. And I always thought that wolves were especially beautiful and remarkable animals. Up until a few years ago, I had no idea what early Americans had done to almost completely eradicate wolves from the United States. The story I learned was shocking. When I heard that wolves had been reintroduced to Yellowstone and parts of Idaho, I felt hopeful. I also learned that many people were not happy about their return. So tonight, I hope to inform you that gray wolves are returning home to the United States, that they belong here, and that humans can learn to coexist. Today we'll be covering the history of wolves in North America, the reintroduction of wolves to Yellowstone and central Idaho in 1995, and why wolves are important to a healthy ecosystem, the controversy surrounding the wolves' return, and how humans and wolves can coexist. So let's go back a few hundred years to where this story started. Several hundred years ago, European settlers appeared in North America and began to civilize the West. They brought their attitude of disdain for wolves with them. These animals had already been eradicated from Europe for several hundred years. Colonists clashed with wild wolves over their livestock. Cattle, horses, sheep, and pigs grazed outward into the fringe of the wilderness, where wild wolves learned they were easy prey. As settlements grew, humans depleted bison, elk, deer, and moose populations that wolves depended on. The wolves resorted more and more to feeding off livestock. The United States Fish and Wildlife Service reported that, to protect livestock, ranchers and government agencies began an eradication campaign. Bounty programs initiated in the 19th century continued as late as 1965, offering $20 to $50 per wolf. By the 1960s, the United States government-sponsored wolf control had almost completely exterminated the gray wolf from the lower 48 states. The wolf is arguably the only species to be so deliberately driven to the brink of extinction. But in the 1970s, opinions started to change. In 1973, wolves are placed on the endangered species list and protected from hunting and trapping. The scientific community starts to see the importance of these apex predators to our North American ecosystems. In 1995, a group of scientists released wolves captured from Canada into Yellowstone National Park and the central Idaho wilderness. Research conducted at the United States Environmental Protection Agency reported that, quote, The gray wolf was reintroduced to Yellowstone National Park in the spring of 1995 after a 70-year absence. In the past 6 years, the population has grown from 31 released animals to more than 100 individuals, as wolves have exploited an abundant elk population. When an elk is killed by wolves, its carcass is partially consumed by the wolves and then is scavenged extensively by 8 other carnivore species: coyote, bald eagle, golden eagle, grizzly bear, black bear, raven, magpie, and red fox, and less intensely by up to 20 other species. Field observations indicate the infusion of wolf kills throughout the year has created an abundant, dependable food source for these other carnivores. When the wolves take the life of an elk, they give life to so many other species. This makes them what scientists refer to as a keystone species. So what is the downside to the wolves returning home? Ranching is big business in Idaho. Many Idaho ranchers were descended from those that exterminated the wolves in the first place. They're not happy about their return. In 2008, the gray wolf was removed from the endangered species list, and the state of Idaho opened hunting season on wolves. According to a report by Boise State Public Radio and NPR, one person, if they're a hunter and trapper, can kill up to 20 wolves in a year, and the hunters can be reimbursed up to $1,000 per wolf. The Idaho Department of Fish and Wildlife relies on hunters for population control of predators like wolves, and decisions about wolf management made in the state capital are heavily influenced by the animal agriculture industry, who are pushing to see that the numbers are decreased to protect their interests. But what happens when a hunter shoots a wolf? According to an article on counterpunch.org, quote, "Even if your goal is to decrease livestock losses due to predators, new insights show that indiscriminate killing of wolves disrupts the social ecology of the pack and skews the population towards younger animals who are less experienced hunters. Packs that lose important members are less able to hold territory and likely to be displaced into marginal habitat. This sometimes leads to a higher likelihood that predators will kill wolves." So how can wolves and humans coexist? The Defenders of Wildlife website published an article about a 7-year study using non-lethal deterrence to protect both livestock and wolves across a large landscape. Northwest Senior Representative of Defenders of Wildlife and primary author of this study, Suzanne Stone, quote, "The results of the study challenge historic predator management at its core, showing that traditional government lethal predator control programs are substantially less effective than non-lethal strategies in protecting livestock, even in large mountainous landscapes. Non-lethal management strategies including livestock guardian dogs, human presence near livestock, flashing lights, sirens, and avoidance of wolf den sites have been used on small-scale ranching operations with success. Gray wolves are a native species. They belong here. They are a keystone species, enriching our environment with biodiversity and balancing our ecosystems. I welcome them home. I learned a lot researching and writing this presentation, and I hope you did too. So let's recap on what we learned. We learned about the history of the United States and its policy to remove wolves. Wolves make a comeback with the reintroduction of wolves to Yellowstone and parts of central Idaho, as well as their protection under the Endangered Species Act. And finally, the controversies surrounding their return home and how we can hopefully coexist. A wolf and a dog belong to the same species, Canis lupus, and share 99% of their DNA. So how is it that we can treat them so differently? Thank you. Do you have any questions?
Good job. Is there a current reward right now for hunting wolves?
There is. So the Idaho State Fish and Wildlife Service actually contributed about $24,000 to a nonprofit that gives a $1,000 wolf bounty to a hunter. So it's partially funded by government agency.
So somebody that kills a wolf gets $1,000.
Correct.
And what's the goal of the agency?
Typically to keep people happy, people that want the wolves gone. So their means of controlling population is to open hunting season, basically, so hunters can shoot wolves.
Oh, and what do you say the current population was?
Estimated between 500 and 800 wolves in Idaho.
That doesn't seem like very much.
Yeah, and then another interesting thing is that, you know how hunting works, you buy a tag for an animal, whether it be an elk, deer, and they sell so many tags, but they sold 45,000 wolf tags in 2019.
Do you know how much a tag is worth?
I think
Cost?
they pay like $19 a tag.
Have you ever heard of or read any attacks from wolves on humans or children?
So, nope. It's usually just myth. Wolves are extremely skittish. Basically, through natural selection, wolves that avoided humans were the wolves that reproduced. So they're almost innately afraid of people. So they don't want to come near us.
What are the main prey for wolf?
Elk,
Okay, that's all.
elk, bison, deer, moose. Not people.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.